Hey 501, week 3 wrap up, going into week 4 here. Hope y'all are doing well on this extremely warm Phoenix weekend. If you're elsewhere, lucky you. Alright, some quick housekeeping on the final project, the paper. I hope that you have all finished your interviews. It's where you should be probably sketching together your notes, looking at um, sort of differentiating your biopsychosocial sections, um, sort of taking notes on your ASQ, figuring out what goes in where, looking at your looking at your text, and the next well, we'll get to this, but in the next coming week to 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about a lot of developmental issues and sort of developmental norms per age period, figuring out where your kid fits in that, utilizing the information from the text, the lectures. There's a lecture in this week's material on infancy from one of our ASU professors, Dr. Leila Rankin, in there. Yeah, gathering your material on that, that's where you should be. We had midterm this week. I set up a forum. Any questions that you have, please, I'm glad to discuss, but let's use that forum for that so everybody can sort of collectively look at things there. Wow, you did a really, really good job on the midterm. I know it was hard. I mean it to be hard. And I know sometimes people kind of tweak out a little bit and get frustrated with it. It's a process, and it's easier. I'm sorry, it's harder than it would appear. And the fact that you're looking at it, thinking about it, is really what I'm going for. Yeah, we can get down on talking about some of the individual questions in there. A couple people had asked if I can post the whole thing. I can't. I'm not going to do that because, I use the quiz over and over again, as do other sections, and they come in different orders as well. It's random the way that it comes to you through Blackboard. So I'd rather just have you ask individual questions on the forum, and we can talk about them there. So we'll do that. Quick reminder: the quizzes were really pretty good. Some of you have some really, really great insight on the quizzes. I love reading your quizzes. I didn't grade quiz 8 this round yet because there was some a glitch in what I had said. So I gave you an extra week on that. If you haven't done it, you're good. I'll grade that with the other ones next week. But on the quizzes, most of y'all are doing a great job. Occasionally, there are some folks with some 4 or 5 word answers on there. I'm going to mark you off for that, even if you're right. They're short essay questions, okay? It says short essay on it. Like, I've been expecting some graduate level discussion, so I don't want to harp on that because it feels a little naggy, but just please. Again, 99% of you doing great on that, but I want to reiterate that. Okay, so back to week 3. I think we covered most of the stuff last week, but one thing that folks had asked was for me to touch back on some of the dyadic interaction piece. So a dyadic interaction comes under the whole family systems theory, and I want you all really, really paying attention to family systems theory. Family systems theory is basically the micro level of the PIE that we talked about, right? And it is in terms of direct work, family systems theory is quite possibly the social workiest theory out there. Okay, basically family systems theory, and this applies to just let me throw this out there, to the discussion board this week and what we're talking about with birth to 5 work. So please have this in mind when you're answering or engaging there. Family systems theory basically is the concept that no one exists in a bubble, and exactly the opposite of that we all exist in a social context, specifically within our own families. And again, family, at whatever that means, okay, whatever as defined by that subsystem, okay. So again, family not excluding foster families, not excluding certainly not excluding same-sex families, is adoptive, I guess there's a whole world of different ways that families identify, and I think families. It's important to be said that family systems theory encompasses all that non-discriminatory in that factor. Regardless, though, what we're talking about is the fact that no one exists in their bubble, and the interactions within the family affect every individual within that family. Okay, something happens here, there's an effect over there. Okay, that's family systems theory in a nutshell. Dyadic interaction within family systems theory is talking about two specific individuals. Okay, think back to the birth of five, right? A lot of times when you're talking birth of five, especially when you're talking birth of three, or infancy in particular, you'll listen to Leela talk. We're talking about dyadic interaction between a mom and a child. Okay, a father and child too. Trust me, I'm a paternalist. I'm a huge proponent of dads being as involved as possible. But the sort of classic look is looking at the dyadic interaction between a mom and a child. Okay, that key point being that it's between two individuals, and talking about how those two individuals relate to each other, what those interactions are, and the fact that in order to understand either from a psychological sort of standpoint, you have to be accounting for the relationship, and that the relationships they're in are really what we're talking about and focusing on when we're looking at mental health. Okay, so that's a lot different than, say, psychodynamic theory, when you're looking at an individual in a bubble. When you're talking psychology, you're talking about that individual and how they function sort of in an isolative cell. Okay, so I'm a huge proponent of family systems theory. Basically, at my agency where I work, Arizona Children's Association, we systemically work always. Okay, we always, first and foremost, when we go into any given situation, look at the context of the family. Okay, I believe in work with children that is should always be first, right? It's very when you look at social work ethic, when you look at the person environment perspective, it's the way to go. It's just that's my opinion. That's my fact. Actually, we're sticking to it. So there's that. I'm glad to chat any more on that, but I'm hoping you all get sort of the idea with that. Week 4, we're going to be moving to talking about culture and some developmental studies, again, that you'll be utilizing in your papers, in your final project. Please highlight through your text, figure out what applies to you want to learn it all, obviously, but you want to figure out what applies to the age of your child that you're focusing on for your interview, and utilize the material there. Culture, the culture piece, let me talk about that for a quick second. I think culture is an extremely interesting thing to study. You can look at trends, you can look at, when you're going through some of the slides, I want to make sure that you're all aware and thinking about that when you're looking at culture, you're looking at trends, you're looking at norms. That does not dictate individuals, okay? I love, there's a theory out there called the culture of one, that every single human being has their own mix and their own DNA fingerprint on a culture. And I love that, because just because you fit here or there does not mean that you fit in all aspects of this or that. Okay, so when you look at some of the statistics on, say, Asian Americans or African Americans or Jewish Americans, what have you, you can look at statistics, you can look at trends, and it's important to know that that does not dictate what an individual will have within their own culture. Okay, so you kind of got to live with that dualism. Important to have that set. So culture, then moving on to some of the developmental stuff. Soak that in, important stuff. There's people have degrees on developmental stuff, so I know that a lot of it will seem like a pretty quick overview. That's okay. Take it for what it's worth. That's that. So quick wrap up this week. That's all I got for you. Y'all are rocking, getting through this. I've heard from quite a few of you. Please continue to email me, text me, call me, whatever I can do for you to help get you through this and get you on the other side of having all this info in your belt. All right. Thanks, everyone.